Hello there, Jenny Bowling here with Pivot to Prosperity, the podcast brought to you by Pivotal Real Estate Investments, where we help our investors build wealth and income through commercial real estate that also improves communities. And today we have John Crutchfield as our guest. John, thank you for coming. Appreciate it.
I'm glad to be here, Jenny.
Yeah. Well, why don't you go ahead and tell us who you are?
Well, first of all, I want to say thank you for inviting me onto your podcast. I know that you invest in your listeners and bring them great guests. So thank you for doing that. But I'll say hello to all of your guests as well and just talk a little bit about where I come from. I like to tell the story of being a kind of a typical young man that was brought up in the South, Tallahassee, Florida. And, mom and dad both at home going to work every day. My mom was a teacher in Tallahassee, and my dad was a accountant at Florida State University. And one of the best things they ever did was get up every day and go to work. And so I saw work ethic and consistency growing up and decided that I would follow that path because that's what I was trained to do. I have a brother and a sister, and we were all told, it sounds so strange now today, but we were all told, when you get 18, you need to be able to fly on your own. So go to school, get good grades, listen to your teachers, be respectful. And, if you get good grades, you'll be able to go to college. And so I went to Florida State for college, thought I was going to be a preacher back then, found and met the girl of my dreams, who would be a good preacher's wife, and then became a teacher out of college and taught middle school math and social studies for about 5 years with people saying, hey, you'd be a good principal. And in order to be a good principal, you got to go back to school and get more schooling. So did that, following the rules, and was a principal for about 5 years. I actually worked in Louisiana, where my wife is from. So we got a lot of that Louisiana culture and cuisine, as you can tell if you're watching this on video somewhere. And then ended up moving to the Tupelo, Mississippi area, which is about an hour south of Memphis, and was a principal there for a while as well. And then something kind of changed in my story because, I kind of done what I was told to do for the first 27 years of my life, right? You go to school, you get good grades, you go to college, you get good grades, you go to work, you do a really good job, you go back to school, you get a promotion, you make more money. But it seemed like as the principal of a school that had done all of that, that had a doctorate degree at that point, it just seemed like it wasn't enough money to make ends meet. It seemed like my financial education was still lacking, and my ability to provide opportunities for my family were still limited, even though I, quote unquote, had a terminal college degree and had a very successful, position at a young age. So I started looking for ways to, increase my financial education, but also just provide more opportunities for my family. And there goes my venture into learning about real estate and learning about investing. So, long answer, that's where I come from. That's the story. That's the background. I've been a teacher, a principal, a professor at colleges, and now I'm a full-time real estate investor that likes to make deals. So it's pretty cool.
Great. And you've been in it how long now?
This is year 7. So I started investing in real estate, really focused around 2017. I think I did my first deal a couple years before that, but year 7 is what I'll say.
So, yeah, you saw, I would guess, you might not have felt it at the time since you were new going into it. I watched, several ups and downs since I've been in it 40 years. I was busy with kids and doing soccer, though, when the Great Recession hit. But 2012 and 13 were climbing. And so 17, were you thinking that it was getting pretty high then as far as prices, or what did you start with? Were you doing single family or multi?
Yeah, I was doing single family and small multifamilies. And, You know, it's interesting because when you're young and you're coming into the business, you hear the stories about 2008 and the recession, and you hear the stories about when prices were lower,
Hmm.
but you pretty much come in looking at prices and you never have seen the lower prices. So I pretty much saw the market for what it was in 2017, 2018, full of opportunity. And then, of course, COVID happens, and now we're in this massive inflationary period. And we could kind of see, okay, this is my first time seeing real estate maybe stabilize a little bit or even go backwards.
Yeah. So what were you doing through COVID?
Yeah, so through COVID, I had a portfolio of hundreds of rentals, and that was my full-time job, was flipping distressed properties, distressed single-family homes or small multifamilies, and managing a rental portfolio. And when COVID happened, I had more debt than I had ever had in my life, and was worried out of my mind when they started saying people might not have to go to work, and was trying to sort out how that might affect, people's payment patterns. And geez, I was also trying to manage my own household, and, I've got two kids and a wife. So, trying to make sure we were all set for dealing with the possible health concerns and stuff like that too. So
Right. Yeah.
I think and for let's not forget that school closed and I had two kids that we now had to manage at home. So
And you were
we
the
had to
teacher, right?
look. I was a teacher in the past, but I have left that, and I like to laugh because COVID reminded me of just how important our school system is to our work and our normal patterns of behavior. So
How old were your kids? Well, how old are they now?
so they're 10 and 12 now. My daughter's birthday is actually today. Well, I don't know when people will listen to this, but she's an April Fool's baby. So April 1st is it's kind of her birthday. So she doesn't like to celebrate her birthday on April Fool's. So we celebrate it a couple of days before because she says she doesn't like people saying making jokes on her birthday or
I don't
playing
blame her.
tricks.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, she actually was in kindergarten when COVID hit. So it was her first year in school. And it was her first year in school, and school like closed in February or late February or March, I believe. So she never had a first full year of school. And she thinks that, breaks from school and time out, that's totally normal. Like we are supposed to get breaks, and hey, school might even close for a year and a half. Like that's the world she
Yeah.
grew up in.
I imagine, right. Yeah. So that's
Yeah.
so when your son then was second grade?
My son was in second grade during COVID. Yeah.
Yeah. So how did he fare?
Yeah, so we were fortunate. I mean, mom's a professor at a college and dad's an entrepreneur. So, we actually just started a little co-op school and told some of our friends, hey, if you need to go to work, send your kids with us. And mom would take them during the morning and I would take them in the afternoon. And, the school started doing some virtual work. So we would kind of monitor their virtual work, and then we do, mom and dad lessons mixed in there, faith and finances. So it actually ended up pretty good. We were able to spend more time with the kids and teach them more of what we want to teach them anyway, right? Versus what they're learning in school. So it
Yeah.
actually ended up pretty good because we had a lot of flexibility with work.
Well, that's good. Yeah. I heard so many different things. So my son was in college and thank goodness he came home and stayed with me. So we had some extra bonding time because he'd gotten a taste of freedom, but it was his senior year. So fortunately, University of North Florida did let him cross the stage. But yeah, it COVID really messed a lot of things up. So yeah, I was wondering how it went for you on that. And so he got to see, both of them got to see how you work too, because you work from home, right?
Yeah, yeah, they got to see us work, and they still do. They still get to see us work. Mom
Yeah.
also does a lot of virtual work too, so
Oh yeah.
I can't say that they think we're that they've seen anything like normal jobs just because we have so much flexibility. If they hug us or kiss us long enough, we usually take a break. So
Well, that's a good way to teach them, right? For
yeah,
sure.
yeah, yeah.
So, well, then, so you were doing single and multifamily rentals. You do buy and hold, right? Or were you doing
I do
flips?
buy and hold for the most part, but we also flip properties. I like to say we kind of have a comprehensive real estate business now.
Oh, yeah.
So we have rentals where people are living and going about their lives and paying us rent, and we handle the property management across a portfolio of, probably 500 people at this point. And then we also buy distressed properties and we flip them. So sometimes we sell them to homeowners. And then we also even provide property maintenance services for other landlords and homeowners that need work done. So there's some vertical integration to what we do, just because we have to have people to manage my own properties. So we started offering services to the public so that we could help them too, since we have to have the systems anyway.
Well, that's good. And then you probably are coaching, I imagine, too. If
Yeah, yeah. I'll help
that's a
people that want to
natural
learn how to
thing,
do this. Yeah.
right?
Yeah. I
Yeah.
actually think that's where I get most of my energy is from helping other investors or other people that are interested in learning how to build portfolios or just how to build businesses. And I get a lot of energy from that. So I'm pretty active on social media as well.
Well, that's good. Yeah. Yeah. And so are you still doing a mix of the single family and small multifamily, or what do you do today?
Yeah, so same business today, except for, we probably don't hold as many of the small, single family houses, if any. We're usually with single family houses, either wholesaling them to other investors or flipping them to homeowners. We have run across a few portfolios of single family houses. If there was a big group, and we've purchased those to hold, but the plan is really to hold them for a defined period and then flip those to homeowners. So today we like large multifamily or commercial projects as holds, and we like the smaller deals as flips.
So and what's your buy box? Where are you?
Yeah, so most of my portfolio is going to be in southern states that we like. So the Sun Belt, but also in Texas. We'll invest in Texas. We like 100 units or more. We really like to be direct to seller because we've been doing some creative things on the finance side. We like taking over mortgages or assuming them, if we might call that,
Yeah.
the lower interest debt. I also like value add projects. So we like properties that, may be a little bit distressed or may have some room or margin to increase rents based on renovations that we could do to the property. But, the deals that we look for are, either the seller is distressed or the property is distressed, maybe mismanaged in some way, and we have potential to add value to the property.
Right. It's the easiest way to drive value up, right?
Yes, yes.
It's kind of a no-brainer when you put money in, it puts, if you do it right, I mean,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
yeah. So are you doing class A, B, C? What are you working with?
Yeah, for the most part, the distress is in the B and C world. We've again been trying to do more of the Bs, but the market is there's a lot of competition right now for these projects.
Yeah.
And I think if I'm honest, we've been doing more Cs because there's a little bit less competition. We feel like there's a little bit less risk in the workforce housing and in the property, how I say it, the price per doors being a little bit more reasonable, in case the market turns. So we haven't been chasing the high B and A class assets just because it's a different it's a different business altogether.
Yeah, it is. Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. So what would be an interesting story to tell the viewers about a surprise for you, say, that you got into with one of the properties?
Oh, a surprise.
A
Um,
surprise. What's a surprise?
yeah, so I think multifamily properties offer just a variety of experience for investors to get involved with. I mean, my favorite deal I've ever done is a 66 unit apartment complex in Tupelo, Mississippi, direct to seller lead, where a lady owned the apartments with her husband and they just wanted to get out. They were mismanaging the property, just not because, really not because of the property or because of them. It was just family property that they were doing the best they could. And they didn't really need the money or need the investment to be optimized. And so that property is, kind of taught me a lot about renovation and, remodeling, dealing with contractors, when to pay them, not to pay them, what to pay them. I think that's one of the most fun things. Insurance and the different variabilities within insurance rates and how that can affect your cash flow. But I think, you know, that property also teaches me about the variety of people that you get in the properties, right? Which I don't think investors often think about or talk about because we're looking at yields and returns. But when you have 66 doors together in a space, you have 66 individual lives and personalities and, relationships and all those kinds of things. If I think about that property, you have tenants who pay their rent early and they, don't really want to be bothered. They're just living their lives. And then you have tenants who, are in domestic disputes or,
Yeah.
you have tenants who are, I'm just thinking about all the things that happen. One of the craziest things that happens, tenants in an argument in the middle of the community and, lady storms off because she's going to leave. She's very upset with her husband and she thinks she's going in reverse, but she hits go in her car and runs right into the apartments. There's all kinds of things that you learn, but what you really learn is that good management can produce good yield and can produce like life-changing cash flow and opportunity, especially in multifamily. And, I've seen like that project, I've seen us take the income and 3x the income just with good management and running it like a business. And I think transforming community is one of the things that is most fun to me about the business is that and that's actually why I wanted to talk to you and be on your podcast, is because real estate is, especially multifamily, is really about like these communities and how you can create communities where people like where they come home and they feel safe and, they feel like they're connected to their community. So, we can take properties that may have a bad reputation or, take properties that may have not been performing at their best and turn them into places where people actually feel home. And I think that's pretty cool about what I do.
Right. Oh, I'm with you. Yeah, I think that it's very neat. And I have some peers that even take it a few more levels, even as far as making the community. And so that, it's interesting. We can talk about some of that. I'd have to read some of the things on their website to remember good examples. But yeah, there's a lot you can do to make people feel like they're in a community. So I'm always interested in hearing other approaches for that and whatnot too. But yeah, I looked, for instance, at some of these humongous apartment projects. Now, I'm in one in Texas that's 550 some units. And that was as big as I felt like I wanted to go. But I'm in Orlando. I live in Orlando. And Universal Studios and Disney are both preparing to do 1,000 unit apartments to try to provide for affordable housing for their employees. And I don't know that I would want to have 1,000 units in one spot. That's just a lot of units. But
It's a
I don't
lot
know.
of
What
it's
do
a
you
lot
think
of
about
people.
that?
Hey, like you've got some of these metros like Dallas where you've got 7,000 people moving there every day. And, you've got huge infrastructure projects happening everywhere. So, it seems like there's the capacity to continue to handle the growth. I think when you've got robust markets with, diverse job industries and the migration patterns showing, that people want to be in warmer states. People want to be in more business friendly states. And, I think when you see that, your investment should follow that migration pattern.
Yeah.
So,
Oh, yeah, wholeheartely, for sure.
yeah, yeah.
And you are in a Dallas suburb, right?
Yeah, I do Dallas. I do deals in Dallas. I have a property management company and we own property, and we have a property maintenance company in the Dallas DFW area. So, I've experienced firsthand great schools, great communities, very business friendly environments in terms of city governments and municipalities, great opportunities to raise family, raise kids. So I think there's a lot going for the Dallas metro area.
I have only flown through there. I've never been able to drive around, but I'm looking at a couple properties in Dallas. We'll have to talk offline, but yeah,
There you
I
go.
would love to know more about Dallas. I've got to get there because when I think of Texas, I think of getting on a horse, and I like that.
Yeah, yeah. So you've got the Cowboys if you're a football fan, and then the Rangers if you're a baseball fan. And then you've got different vibes really between Dallas, which is like modern living. If you like city and if you want to feel like you're in New York in the South, I would say Dallas is getting there. And then you've got the Fort Worth swag, right? Which is a country feel of a big city, right? With the music and the horses and
Uh-huh.
the more southern charm. And if you live or if you work in Dallas anywhere, like in the metro, you say I live in Dallas. It doesn't matter what suburb you live in. You just say I live in Dallas. But if you live in Fort Worth, you say Fort Worth because it's a difference. The modern swag versus the old Southern charm. And they have their own unique thing going on.
I see. Good to know. And then
Yeah.
Houston, you don't talk about that really when you're talking Dallas. It's like,
Nah, yeah. I think it's about 4 hour drive south, and it's just a different place. I don't even invest in Houston.
no.
I know some people that do, but it's a different vibe.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Well,
Yeah, I
so
think Houston is like one of the biggest cities in the world. I think just like in terms of the spread of the city and the size, it's got a lot going on. But yeah, Dallas is probably a more condensed area, and there's a lot more suburbs, in Dallas that have sprung up.
and sophistication, I gather.
I will claim Dallas. I will claim
Gotcha.
Dallas.
Okay. And how long have you lived there now?
Oh, this is year 5
Okay.
that I've been
Yeah. So
operating in Dallas.
yeah.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
if you've been investing in it, you've probably driven all over the place.
yeah, yeah. I love it.
Yeah. Well, good. Well, so again, tell me what your buy box is exactly.
Yeah. So if I had to just drill it down, 100 units or more, direct to seller, right? We love brick structures, but we'll do wood frame structures. We also like value add potential. We try to stay somewhere under 75,000 a door. So again, that's going to lend itself to probably a low B or C class asset that has been distressed in some way, whether it's the owner distressed or the property itself distressed.
Now, and speaking of that, since interest rates have been high so long and we're expecting some distress in this industry over the next year to 2 years, probably, are you seeing much of that in Dallas right yet?
Yeah, so I definitely think that values have stabilized and they're not continuing to climb. I think we've seen price per door, like cap rates, definitely be affected by interest rates going up higher. We've definitely seen activity, properties changing hands less over the last probably 18 months. But I think market wide, we're seeing less real estate activity, lower changing of properties per hands. I mean, it's working. If they raise interest rates, it's going to slow activity down. And a lot of buyers are out of the market or waiting on the sidelines to see prices come, either prices come down or interest rates fall so that they can get back in.
Yeah. Yeah. And we're seeing a lot more deal flow at this point too. And prices have seemed to be correcting, at
Yeah.
least in Florida and the few places I've been looking in Texas. I'm not looking just anywhere in Texas. I'm sticking to the big cities, you know. But
Yeah. And I think something else that we've seen is sellers be more open to creative options than they were, earlier. Just people being willing to carry some debt, people being willing to give more time frame for due diligence. It seems like people are more open to conversations because they have to be. They're just not getting as many like people putting their earnest money down hard from day one and offering
yeah.
more than the property is. We're definitely not seeing that.
Yeah, yeah, same here too. Although it's still pretty tight in Orlando. There's a lot of demand still. So, but yeah, you're not seeing prices climb so much. But well, good. Well, so I'm going to ask you my key question here now. Can you share with us either a pivotal person or event that changed your life and brought you to where you are today?
Yeah, probably my wife.
There you go. Yeah.
Yeah, she's pretty awesome. Married my wife at 18
Ooh.
and been married for 18 years now, almost 19. And I think that for a lot of guys, the woman that you meet can be pivotal in the decisions that you make and the choices that you make and the stuff you decide not to do and keep you out of trouble, help you cultivate good friends and relationships. I know my wife pushed me to get more education. I probably would not have pursued some of the growth that I pursued if it wouldn't been for her admonition. So that's one of the relationships. Maybe that's love talking. Uh,
No, that's sweet. That's good.
but no, I'd say in business and life, there's been elders at churches that we've been a part of that nurtured our family and talked us through some times where I was deciding to quit my W-2 job and go into entrepreneurship. Talked us through you know, the risk of those decisions and talked us through, how to agree or get on the same page about how to raise kids. So faith is important to me. And relationships with leaders in our faith community have also been helpful.
Great. Yeah. Yeah. I think that there's a lot to be said for that. And we are here at Easter weekend too. So I think,
Yeah, yeah.
it's a good weekend to be talking about entrepreneurship and new beginnings and all that, because, that's what we hope our investors realize. It's like I was telling you, a lot of my peers are in their 60s and thinking, maybe they need to play it safe with their money. And they might be thinking that investing in real estate isn't safe, but yet it's the most durable asset of all time. It's the things that there's
100%.
been wars over since the beginning of man. So it's not exactly something going away. It's not going to dissolve. But that's kind of my little take on it. And I think it's important for people to realize that it's never too late to pivot and to start investing in real estate. And I think that it's pretty easy to talk to people that are also doing it nowadays. It used to be tough, but now syndications have made it easier for more people to do it. And
Oh yeah.
so, yeah, you can get some comfort level talking to others real easy. So, yeah, well, I'm so glad that we got to get together. Now, I want you to go ahead and tell people how they can reach you.
That would be great. I'd love to reach people at Grab the Map, which is my company name. You can usually find me on social media at Jonathan Crutchfield Jr. or at Grab the Map. And website is grabthemap.com. I'd love to talk to investors that are looking to get involved in deals or people that feel like they need some education or mentorship or coaching. Always looking to help people that are trying to do deals. I've also got a pretty interesting book on Amazon right now. I like to think it's interesting.
Yeah, what's it about?
Called House. It's called House Poor to Real Estate Millions. House Poor to Real Estate Millions, and it's all about like the mindset shifts that need to happen in order to do real estate, especially when you don't come from a whole lot. So when you have to learn how to manage your money and manage your credit score and manage your relationships and all those things, it's really a book about, the mistakes you shouldn't make. And I think it's helping some people. Some people have found it entertaining, especially in this time when the market is kind of going through a little correction. Some people are having some trouble with some of the deals they've done in the past. I think people can resonate with some of the stories in there about the correction in the market.
Great. Okay. Well, send me the link and we'll put it in the show notes too. If it's
Yeah.
whatever information you want in the show, I'll send you the show notes too, so you can make sure what you want's there. So, well, fantastic. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate. Are we finishing in time for you to get to the party?
Yeah, yeah. Birthday party for my daughter in about 10 minutes. So I'm
Yeah.
going to walk out of the door right when we finish.
Yeah, you better get going. So, thank you again. I'm glad you came on, and we'll talk later about Dallas.
Hey, Jenny, thank you for taking the time on a Friday afternoon.
Oh, of course. Yeah.
Talk to you later.
All right. Take care.
All right. Bye.